smoking, it's a revolution. Revolution, revolution. Shots to your head, it's an execution. Execution, execution. It's being us versus the corrupt. Red dot, put a cross to your head. Let the Lord interrupt. Interrupt, interrupt. Gun smoking, it's a revolution. Revolution, revolution. Shots to your head, it's an execution. Execution, execution.
What up, Liberty Goons?
We're back. Hey, and I got a little face upgrade over here.
Look at you, dude. Looking fucking good. I mean, your beard, I don't know, but the rest of the look you got going on is fire, bro.
I wish they could actually see this super fancy, nice fucking desk that's all lit up with LED lights on it.
You're a true fucking gamer now,
dude. I have a gamer podcast table that's carbon fiber with LED lights.
It's fucking awesome. They'll see it more once you back up your camera. So
yeah, there's still gonna be changes that are gonna be made. We're slowly but surely making some upgrades here.
I made some changes too. I put books back here because I want everybody to know that I do read and that I can read. So I put those up there. Oh, and I've got my little Steelers skull that I got in Mexico back there. Steelers versus Ravens this weekend.
That's
playoffs,
fire, actually.
Playoffs, baby. I got that in Ensenada, I believe.
Nice.
That was right before I got arrested in Mexico, but we don't need to talk about that. Mom, I've told you that story already. Man, so we've got some stuff coming up, and unfortunately, my boy Don Welch ain't gonna be there. Wow. We got SHOT Show and the Gundies coming up. It's gonna be exciting. I got a special outfit planned for the Gundies.
Man, I want to be there so bad. There's just so much stuff going on.
I know.
In case you guys don't know, my girl's almost like she's like any day now we could have a little baby. So it's been crazy, man. We were at the doctor's office today even with it. So but it's cool. Life is changing vastly quick. But man, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited for you. And next year we will be there no matter what. So
and I think there might be a chance for us to still film a podcast like we had planned.
Man, we had to if we don't do it, if it doesn't happen this year, because obviously, it's not going to, we have to do it next year.
I know. I just don't want to wait that long to put the episode out.
Me either. We're gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe I can like rig something up. We'll see how the Wi-Fi is in the hotel room, and if I can do it, I'll do it. It'll be a half-ass setup because I'm flying from Cancun, so I can't like take all my gear with me. But
me and John have had something that if we get to put it out the way that we want to put it out, it's going to be sick.
It's going to be.
And by the way, that's John. I'm Don. This is the Liberty Goons.
You guys, if you haven't done so right now, we're going to do this backwards today. You should like this video, subscribe to the channel, please subscribe. I know y'all aren't subscribed because we have usually twice as many viewers as we do subscribers. So hit the subscribe button, and just so you get notified every single time we post cool episodes just like this, ring that notification bell, damn it. Man, it's a lot warmer doing my little spiel right now than it was this past weekend. I filmed 3 videos for 2A Patriot Ranch. It was 11 degrees when I started. It was 12 degrees when I finished. It was fucking cold, bro. Like almost packed it in. I almost was a pussy and packed it in. It was fucking cold.
I was watching your stories and I was like, nope. But the crazy thing is tomorrow we're supposed to get 2 to 4 inches of snow.
Damn.
And I'm not looking forward to that because unlike you guys who have salt trucks and everything else,
True.
we don't. And usually our electricity, if it snows, it's like you're without electric for like a fucking week.
I remember when you guys had those ice storms a few years back that like just destroyed the power grid.
Yeah, we didn't have power for 2 weeks.
That's insane.
It was crazy. It was 8 degrees outside after that, and we had no electricity.
We had about 8 inches up at the ranch.
Dude, I know I saw it.
I mean, at least 8 inches by my count. But it was good. To be honest, on the Rebel got a little squirrely when I was going down the access road there. Because those water spots were iced over. And so when I hit them, the back end got a little squirrely on me.
Dude, if you ever get to put like a little cabin something out there,
I'm trying.
At some point, man, a cool little fucking 4-wheeler to get up and down the
I know.
would be awesome.
I need to do it. So I didn't even go down to the normal shooting spot.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was.
I was gonna ask you, were you up at the top?
Yeah, I was shooting into the bank.
Oh,
yeah, it was a perfect spot, perfect opportunity to do it. Shout out to 2 companies. So shout out to Vector Optics because they gave me this 1x18 micro prism to take a look at. Don, you would have loved this thing. There was 0 fisheye, 0, next to 0, as next to 0 as you can get for a prism scope.
Man,
the dot itself or the circle itself was bright as shit outside in the day. It was fun. Eye relief. Like I was probably back 6 to 8 inches on it and crystal clear. It was fantastic. So shout out Vector Optics. Never had used their shit before. They sent it to me. I was actually a little concerned that it was going to be a piece of crap. But it wasn't. It was really, really good. It was really, really good. And I can tell you the company. So Olight is about to drop 2 new products. I filmed those videos. It's under embargo right now, so I can't tell what it is.
Oh, so you're gonna be one of those guys.
Yeah. So
and you just drop it where everybody else drops it, and
yeah,
hopefully you get like 30 seconds quicker than everybody else does.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. But they have 2 new products that they dropped. And I got to say, Don, you would like these 2 because I know you like the one that I showed you when you were here. And it's 2 different versions of that.
It's it's kind of crazy that they had one little hiccup, right? Like, I mean,
one little battery hiccup,
and then everybody hated on them for so long. But it's like, fuck. I mean, dude, look at Palmetto State Armory too. Like, it's they had hiccup after hiccup after hiccup. Now, one thing I'll say is,
look at Taurus,
dude. If the company cleans up their stuff and they put out a great product for a great price, it's like, my guys, like, you guys got to stop hating.
You got to stop hating, especially on Olight. I am not. So Olight doesn't pay me at all. Like, I don't get paid by Olight to do any of this. They send me their optics, which, yes, I guess that's a form of payment technically. But I don't need those optics. It's not like, I have a ton of shit. But I have to say that every single product I've used from them in the past, say, 1.5 to 2 years has been phenomenal. Like, I have had 0 qualms about anything that I've used from them. It's all lasted. I've many builds now that I have their stuff on. Actually, one of the things I just reviewed that I'll be dropping, I'm pretty sure is going to be on something that I use every day. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. Yeah. Shout out to Olight, man.
Yeah, shout out Olight. Who do we shout out? We shout out Alpha Foxtrot last week. We got left on unread on IG.
Well, unfollow them if you follow them for us.
I know, right? Unfollow you bastards, Alpha Foxtrot. Actually, we'll give you one more chance because we really want to work with you guys. So
True. We saw your we saw your weaponry and we're like, yeah, we hey, innovative.
hey,
We definitely would like to have two of those pistolas sent to us so we could review them. You know?
yes. I have something else to say about Instagram, but we'll hold because I want to get to the more pressing topic of the day.
Yeah, man. So tell let's just I guess let's just hop
Just
into it.
fucking jump into it, dude.
Yeah.
Los Angeles is burning up. Legitimately on fire. Pacific Palisades is just fucked. It is just completely destroyed.
I saw like
Hundreds of homes.
all the way up to like Riverside County there was fires.
There's another fire that just broke out off of Sunset, near the Hollywood sign, like just probably 45 minutes ago.
It's crazy.
They're popping up everywhere. You've got one out in Riverside. You got one up in Silmar. You've got the one in Pacific Palisades. Now there's one that's kind of like in like the center-ish of LA. And basically LA is saying we don't have the resources to fight this type of engulfment, which in some respects I get, right? Like this is multiple massive fires in metropolitan areas. Like that's a lot that you can't even prepare for that. They have thousands of firefighters and trucks, and one of the biggest disadvantages they were facing was they couldn't get their helicopters and their planes in the air because there was 100-mile-an-hour winds, like hurricane force gusts coming through there. And
yeah, the Santa Ana winds is what's really making this, what it is right now.
Yeah, and if you've never been to California and experienced those winds before, bro, I mean, obviously I lived in that area for a very, very long time, and those winds are gnarly. And the fires themselves are. I remember when I was working at Golden Road Brewing, we had a fire that started on a mountain range. It was like far away. It wasn't going to actually like get to us or anything. But the smoke, I had to shut the restaurant down because the smoke was so bad that it filled our entire place. And that was just one fire on a mountain range that was 10-15 miles away. What's going on there now is,
bro, I was watching how crazy it was. Like I was like watching like a Fox reporter, and a Fox reporter is like sitting there like having a conversation, and there's like two people like that have like 5-gallon buckets and they're trying to put out their house, and as they're spinning, like you catch these people just throwing fucking water.
yep.
And this guy's like engulfed in flames all around, and he's got big huge goggles on, and he's like, as you can see.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
I was watching him like just before that, and he was like, I think it's time to put my goggles back on.
Bro, I was like, yo, this is crazy. I will say this. I saw something else too, and I can't remember where I saw it. I can't remember if it was somebody was on YouTube Reel or if it was TikTok or whatever it was. But dude, there was like two dudes that were like trapped in the house, and
Oh yeah,
all glass, and it's
yep.
just the whole entire there was nowhere around the house that was not engulfed.
I don't know what happened to those guys because they were trapped.
I'm like, I want to know, did those dudes survive or not? Because they were showing, like, you can see. So, in case you guys haven't seen this, there's windows all the way around this house, and as they pan in a little bit, you can see where everything's just like melted. And they're like, oh, I can't remember what they said. Something about like, oh, was the gas turned off? And the guy's like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, did you see it like melted all the plastic? So I'm assuming that they probably had some type of like plastic furniture out on their patio.
Yeah.
And it just like melted it. But it's like the house is right there. And the guy was like, oh yeah, he's like, was gonna open up the window. He's like, no, don't open the window. Don't open the window. I'm like, dude, like this looks absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that was that's gnarly. So I'm going to transition the conversation on this to one of my favorite topics, which is picking on Greasy Gavin Newsom. So I don't know, Don, if you remember, this was probably episode 2, 3, 4, something like that. We had a very brief conversation about California wildfires. I don't
Yes,
remember if you
I
remember we
remember
had.
this. I
Yeah,
remember
and I
this.
told you about my friend that's a firefighter that was talking about forestry mismanagement and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we were talking
Um,
about Trump saying like, "Yo,
yeah,
this is fucking California's own fault because they won't get their shit together. They won't do they don't want to clean up the brush.
yep.
They leave it all out. They don't. It's like they it's most of this shit is California's own fault because they're more worried about the I don't know what the hell what the hell they're really worried about, but a bunch of like go green fuckers with like the EPA and shit don't want you to clean
Yeah,
up
with the smelt, the smelt fish that they didn't want to fuck with the rivers. But yeah, so massive forestry mismanagement. Um, early reports, and obviously we try to be careful because stories are stories or whatever. Early reports are that fire hydrants are running out of water, that the
I saw
firefighters are
that.
hooking up to them and there's no
Nothing there.
water. Um, Greasy Gavin has failed to build one single reservoir. So all the water, all the rain that happened in California this past cycle, I mean, they had a very wet summer and spring, and all of it just ran into the ocean
Yeah,
because
because
Greasy Gavin.
I remember Trump even saying something about it. I think Trump even said something about it today, and we even talked about it on that podcast where he
Yep.
was saying like, "Yo, California has an abundant amount of rain. Like the further north that you go,
hmm
like why aren't you like we could build something here?" And he said, I think he even at one
I think
point
he
in
was
time,
talking to Rogan
yeah,
when
I
he was
think
talking about that.
yeah, and I think at one point in time he even said, even prior to that, when he was president last time, he
hmm
was saying like he was trying to convince them, and he was like, "Hey, like we'll even do like a bill for you in order to have a water flow to come down in case something like this happens again," and they just refused because Orange Man bad, basically.
Yes, and Greasy Gavin is worried about cleaning up homeless for the Chinese delegation coming through, and
Or
mismanaging funds, and the whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, as you could imagine, the city of LA, which is a democratically controlled city, is also fucked. Their mayor, Karen Bass, was in Ghana for like a presidential swearing in or birthday, or I don't know, some shit in Ghana. Wasn't even in her state, in her city. The fire chief, and I'm gonna caution my own self on this. So the fire chief is a DEI advocate. She happens to be a member of the LGBTQ community. Now, I don't think either of those things in and of themselves disqualifies her being able to do the job, right? Like
she loves
I'm
guns,
not
beers, and
saying,
titties.
yeah, I'm not saying that she can't do the job because of those two things. There are some people that have put that out there, but I'm not saying that at all. Um, but it does seem that she spent a bit of her time worried about that, as opposed to the fire department.
Well, I mean
Also,
that's why everything goes down to shit. Let's just be honest about it. Like
yeah,
you can refrain from it. I won't. Like just look at the whole United States right now that has implemented these diversity hires and see what's happened. Like things have collapsed. We have mass inflation. We have mass problems. We have fucking airplanes fucking falling out of the sky. We have trains fucking crashing and burning. I mean, dude, like you name it. We got problems. We got buildings fucking falling down all over the place. Bridges fucking falling down all over the place. I mean, and these are the people that are supposed to be in charge of transit and everything else. And it's just one collapse after the other. California can't get their grid right. It's brownouts every single day because they're more worried about, like you said, you know, equity and inclusion than they are more worried about freaking, hey, let's just take care of shit so everybody can benefit from it. And, we don't have to live in a third world country. Now those Chinese flags, I mean, congratulations, California. Now you live in fucking China because your whole fucking place is burnt up and there ain't shit you can do about it.
Yes, I mean, well said. And they continue these democratic policies of they just took the mayor took $17 million from the fire department. That's looking pretty bad now. So obviously I'm a little bit more familiar with this stuff. So Karen Bass beat out a guy who I believe his name's Rick Caruso or Jim Caruso. Jim Caruso. Caruso is his last name. He's a big developer.
Just to stop, Karen Bass, isn't that the same name as the chick that was the whole fucking lions and tigers and shit from?
Oh no, that was God, I know what you're talking about from Tiger King.
Carol Bass, right?
Carol Bass, yeah,
Carol Bass. I was like, what? That's the only thing I could think
No, Carol
of.
Baskin. Carol Baskin.
Oh, Carol Baskins. Oh, that's it.
Karen Bass, Carol Baskin. One's white, one's black. No big difference. But Karen Bass beat out Mr. Caruso, who's a big time developer. Funny enough, I actually I have a connection to Mr. Caruso. He was building a mall, a development in Carlsbad, California when I lived there. And I was pretty, in the political sphere in Carlsbad. I ran for city council there back in 2010. And I was interviewed for this project. I think it was called Prop A. And I was in favor of it, right? And a lot of people weren't because it was going to be built right by some wetlands. Was not going to ruin any wetlands or anything like that, but it was getting built by it. And I was an advocate for it. And I was running a restaurant in town at the time too. And we had people go onto our Yelp page and blast the company that I worked for because they employed me because I supported a political proposition to build a mall.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's my connection to Mr. Caruso, but and I'm not saying that maybe he was the right person for LA. I'm not taking any sides there at all. I'm just saying Karen Bass was not the right person for LA. So all of this calamity and the liberal naysayers are screaming climate change as the reason for all of this shit. We just mentioned like 13 reasons why. Isn't that a movie or TV show? 13 reasons why. So. Yeah. We just mentioned 12 reasons why this is not climate change and has nothing to do with climate change. What it has to do with is California and the liberals' failed policies. 100%.
Yeah, bro. And California, listen here, you dumb fucks. Because you didn't clean up the brush, the next time some homeless fucker out there decides that he's gonna flip a fucking cigarette,
yep.
then you have fucking 10,000 acres fucking light up engulfed in flames. This is all of your guy. Like, this is every single person that lives in California that's voted Democrat. This is your fault.
Like, it is your fault.
If your house burned up, guess what? Blame yourself. Now for my conservative people out there, I feel really bad for because obviously you didn't vote for that shit.
But. Yeah, and I do want to say, there's been sort of a narrative that I've seen a little bit on X today where it's like off kind of like fuck the rich, their houses are burning, whatever. I'm going to tell you, like, yes, a lot of the homes that were burned are multi-million-dollar homes, right? Mm-hmm. Pacific Palisades is not just full of all multi-million-dollar homes. There's a ton of multifamily complexes, regular homes, hardworking blue-collar Americans that obviously they make more wages in California, so they can afford a little bit more of an expensive house. This is not just the rich people getting fucked. This isn't Beverly Hills catching on fire, which who knows, by now it might be. But that's not what this is. There are some hardworking Americans that are losing their homes due to these failed policies. And I do agree with you, Don, of like they do have themselves to blame a little bit. I know that's really bad to say in the middle of this. Mm-hmm. And I definitely don't think that a failed policy should cause you to lose your home. But I hope it's a wake up call. That if there's anything good that could possibly come out of all this destruction, it's that it's a wake up call that Greasy Gavin Newsom is a failed politician. He's a failed American, and that people like Karen Bass, like what's the DA's name there in L.A. Gaston.
Yeah, Gaston. Yeah.
All these fucking losers in your state, California, are the reason that you have no water. They're the reason that you have wildfires.
Brownouts.
They're the reason you have brownouts. They're the reasons you have homeless people, and that you've mismanaged over $30 billion in funds to clean up homeless, and you still have a fucking problem. So,
well, they're the reason for the homeless population because
yes.
they're one of the highest. You have one of the highest property taxes in the whole entire country, and
And housing
because
costs in general.
like even if you make like 100K a year there, which is very well anywhere else in the country, right? I mean, that's would be considered, dude. Imagine, hey, I make 100K and I live in fucking West Virginia. Like, dude, you'd be doing awesome, right? 100K there is literally like low income in the state of, I mean, in the state of California. It's like literally low income. It's like not even like considered middle class there because you couldn't even afford a moderate home mortgage. So it's your guys' fault. I mean, and Texas is no different too. I mean, we're one of the highest places for property taxes too. Only thing is it's a little bit cheaper to live here, just as
When you
far
don't
as
mismanage your funds.
yeah, it's a little bit cheaper to live here. But even that, like we've been fighting forever for them to lower the property tax. It's still fucking crazy here. But at the end of the day, when you add all the terrible policies on top of, hey, we also have probably the highest property taxes in the entire world is probably California.
True.
How can a middle class, and Democrats always used to be, I'm for the working man. Since when?
Since when?
Like before Clinton? Like maybe,
Maybe.
but
So you're saying after the hoods and before Clinton?
because
After the KKK and before Clinton, the Democrats were for the working class Americans.
I mean maybe like at some point, but like I don't know when. I mean, dude, like the only and it's the Republicans too. The only people that have done shit for Republicans was, I mean, in our somewhat of lifetime here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Ronald Reagan and Trump. Now, I mean, we've only really had the Bushes in between.
True. We had one family in between.
So like, but the Democrats have ran fucking forever and fucking keep winning shit left and right, and they keep fucking it up, and we're like, like you ever see like the meme where everything's just on fire? Speaking of California, and the guy's just drinking he's like drinking his coffee or he's like working on his computer. He's like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Dude, they love the torture, and they would. I literally think that they just want shit to just completely burn down all around them, and they don't give a fuck if they burn down with it, as long as everything burns down. Like that's what Democrats remind me of. Like they're just destructive, and they don't care who it hurts.
Yep, and it sucks because California is part of the United States, and I have to say, California is probably one of the most beautiful places in the world. It really is, when you're not in watching homeless people and stuff. But it is just absolutely beautiful. I lived in Carlsbad, California for almost 10 years. It is one of the most beautiful, quaint cities that you'll ever go to. Great people, great beaches, nice homes. It's beautiful. Yet these failed policies cause shit like we're seeing today with these wildfires. And public service announcement, if you have large animals, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena is setting up areas to take your large animals horses, cows, or whatever. I think check with your local authorities on that, but I'm pretty sure it's all large animals. And the Pasadena Humane Society is taking they're setting up extra shelters for small pets. So if you're able to get your animals out, and I'm saying this because there's more fires popping up, and as you get to the outskirts of LA is where you really get into kind of like horse country and farmland and stuff like that. So
Yeah, start getting to like Bakersfield and
yeah, so protect your stuff.
Tehachapi, right?
And
Right.
that's a little further.
It's a little further.
I heard that on X, we trust everything we hear on X, that almost all of the porn shoots had to get shut down today because of the fires.
Oh, that's funny.
Just what I heard.
No, man, I think that I mean, it's obviously it's sad, right?
It is. It's very sad.
I mean, it's definitely sad, and like you said too, dude. California, like, could you imagine if a Greg Abbott ran fucking California for fucking the next 40 years? Like, how clean and beautiful that place really would be. Like, dude, they have some of the most beautiful deserts in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
They have some of the most beautiful forests in the entire world there.
Mm-hmm.
They have some of the most beautiful beaches in the entire world.
Yep.
It's just mixed with so much nasty fucking shit because they have just destroyed it. I mean, like with homeless and trash and God knows what else, that they have.
Feces.
Yeah, feces. They always talk about like, oh well, there's no guns. There's no guns in California. It's crazy because you guys still have one of the highest fucking crime rates. So maybe if you had some more guns, maybe you wouldn't have that high of fucking crime rate there.
Amen to that.
Maybe if somebody was worried about getting a fucking muzzle put in their face back at them, then shit would clean up a little bit.
Yep. Oh, one more PSA before we switch topics here. If you personally know me, and you are in the LA area, reach out to me. I have a buddy. Actually, he was on our New Year's Eve special, Sam. And he is offering up his ranch property that has room for horses and some other stuff out there if you're just displaced or whatever. So if you know me personally, I'm not taking any strangers. Sorry. Hit me up and I'll put you in contact with Sam. So I saw he had posted earlier, so I want to put that out there. Yeah, Sam's a cool dude. Hopefully Sam's going to be in Vegas, taking your place, bro.
Well, I mean, better him than nobody at all. So
I might have to rent a girl for the night or something. Can't you do that there?
I don't know.
Oh, we're gonna get banned. Speaking of getting banned, this leads us into our next topic. We've talked about this kind of ad nauseum before with your shadow ban and my shadow ban and all the stuff. I am in 300. I'm down to 352-day jail on Instagram right now over at 2A Patriot Ranch. There is literally a countdown timer on it. 352 days. I am eligible to use certain features on Instagram again December 20-something 2025. All because I posted a link to Battlehawk Armory. Posted a link. I cannot go on a live. I cannot be shown to anyone. All of my stuff is lowered in the feed. I posted a reel the other day or a story the other day that got one view. 10,000 followers and it got one view. And I think that was probably mine from my own personal Instagram account.
Bro, you know what's crazy is so obviously me and John, we decided a long time ago, on this podcast, no compromise. So we were just like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to tell the truth no matter how much we get fucking hit for it, right?
Yep.
And because Instagram doesn't like conservative commentary, anything at all, they will automatically hit you. So it got so bad. Look, when me and John like started like hanging out and talking and shit, and we were shooting and stuff. I mean, right before then, I had been hit because my music's pretty conservative, but still like, 3,000-4,000 likes on Instagram was like pretty common, normal thing. And then as soon as that happened, it was just like drastic tank.
Are you blaming me for your downfall? Is that what I just took out of that? Are you blaming fucking me? I mean, I am the one in IG jail, so I guess maybe.
Well, no, but I also am part of you being in IG jail, though.
True. Facts.
Because, and this is my whole story about this. Like, when we obviously we're saying no compromise, so I will share things with John, or I'll put the story up, right? I'll put a story up, and I'm like, oh, we need to fucking share this. Attach Liberty Goons, attached to a Patriot Ranch, and next thing you know, John's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna share this, and then boom, I get hit, he gets hit, our fucking Liberty Goons podcast channel gets hit, and it got so bad where, because these libtards hate us so much that like there's a funeral picture of like, me and my family, and my grandma had just passed away, and it's got like, it literally had like 70 fucking strikes on it. From selling goods to saying that there was drugs in it to there was vaping in it. I mean, you name it, it was on that post. I'm like, it is literally, yeah, exactly. But it didn't even have any vaping in it. It was just,
this is a picture of you. Yeah.
It was a picture of me and my family, and that was it. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, and every single one of my posts got hit. And I think it was something like 140 stories that I shared got strikes on it. And then every single post that I had ever made got, dude, they were going back to some of the posts that I had posted in like 2000, and I think it was like 17. And I ended up getting strikes on those posts.
Well, we might be in luck.
Maybe.
Because Zuckerturd says no more.
Well, you know what? You know why he said that, right?
Because
Daddy Trump went like this. And he had a change of heart real quick.
He teabagged him.
Now, I will say this. I'm still worried about this. So in case you guys don't know, in case you guys haven't heard, apparently Zuckerturd, what he's going to do is he's going to change everything and make everything to be community notes. Like X. Kind of like how X is. Now, the issue with that is, and I don't know if you thought about this. Let's say they say, oh no, this is wrong information, and they put a community note on there. But that information that they put that community note on there is something that's also false, because that's what the media does. Am I then allowed to take another news media outlet and say, actually, no, here's another community note,
right,
and then cite that?
Well, that's how X works.
Exactly, but is that how this is going to work? And
who knows?
And what's the regulations on it? Are we going to be able to talk about guns on there now? Are we going to be able to? Am I going to be able to say fuck liberals and have freedom of speech on there again? Am I going to be able to post music shit on there again that's conservative? I want to know all these things. I'm excited too.
Well, my excitement is tepid. Like,
that's what I'm saying, but I'm just like, I know how these people work.
If this is a beauty pageant, I'll be really pissed because of how Zuckerturd presented it. So, when he did his little IG video, he said, we are getting rid of the fact checkers. We're moving all of our content like moderation team from California to Texas because we don't want it to be biased. Which on face level, on surface level, great moves, right? Like great moves.
Yeah, but here's what he's not.
To your point.
Here's what he's not telling you. It's already here. because we have Facebook and Instagram in Austin, Texas. And
Right, but
Austin,
that doesn't
Texas,
mean that it doesn't mean that they're fact checker. Their fact checkers were based out of California. Um, on the surface, it looks great, but I'm just as skeptical as you are. Basically, they said they just don't. All the shit that you and I get in trouble for is what they just don't want to worry about anymore. Is basically what Zuckerturd was saying. They want to focus on sex trafficking, child pee, all of that kind of stuff, all the actually illegal stuff, as opposed to, you know, uh, Don Welch posted this story that may or may not be true, speculative at best, or whatever. That's the kind of shit that they're going to reduce their algorithms to not be like searching specifically for that stuff. That's the basis of what he said. Now, how are we all going to know? Honestly, unless I get out of fucking jail, I don't believe it.
well, it's not even about getting out of jail. It's you're gonna know. Okay, for example, I know for a fact that Instagram has been removing followers. Why do I know this for? Because people that's followed me forever has said, "Hey, I no longer follow you, and I didn't unfollow you." And I just randomly came across your page again because I seen somebody else share one of your stories, and I clicked on your name because I was like, "Oh, I haven't seen this guy in forever." And then I realized, whoa, I'm not following this person anymore. And why am I not following this person? And it's because they keep removing followers because they have a thing on there that says like if you haven't interacted with this person in 30 days, then you're considered a bot. Or, they have these weird little things that are on there. But guess what? It never happens to anybody unless it's something that Instagram doesn't like. And then if Instagram doesn't like you, then guess what? Guess what? You know why they haven't interacted with your page? Because Instagram hasn't showed them your shit.
Right. So I will put a caveat to that a little bit. I do agree almost with 100% of what you said there. However, it happens to major creators too. So my sister, for those of you that aren't familiar or don't know me, my sister has like 1 million followers on Instagram. Susie B Fitness, Susie KB on Instagram. I probably just shocked a lot of people right there that's my sister, but
the 3,000 people that are going to watch this.
Yeah, the 3,000 people that are going to watch this. But she has had the same things kind of happen to her with the content lowering. And I mean, obviously she doesn't post anything. She's not a thought, she's not posting bad content. She just has a business.
Very by the book.
But very by the book, has never lost access to her Instagram account, never been quote unquote shadow banned, the whole 9 yards. But she will lose followers and get lowered in feeds. She has people message her like, "Hey, I followed you for 8 years now, and I barely see any stories from you anymore." And she's like, and I mean, she posts 15 times a day,
Yeah.
And it's just the way. What you said is correct, but it's the other kind of piece of that is just the way that these companies will do whatever they want to do to push whatever agenda it is. And it may not even be a political agenda. It could be, hey, we're not going to push Susie B Fitness's stuff anymore because we care about this other person more, or we care about this other topic more, or whatever it is. These companies have just complete control of the content that you see. That's it, plain and simple. They have complete control of the content you see. And then, if somebody goes and pays for marketing, you'll see it even more. So like if you're even a massive content creator, say you have 10 million followers and the guy with 50,000 followers spends $1,000 a month with you, that's going to take away from your viewership. Even though you have more fans, it's going to remove that viewership. Now, I'm not speculating that necessarily is 100% wrong, but it does go to the point of these social media companies, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the Meta universe, Google, they have complete control over the content that you receive. And we talk a lot of shit, and this is kind of a side note, Don, about TikTok, right? The whole debate around TikTok is that it's a Chinese controlled company, and in China, they literally limit the type of content that the Chinese people can see, right?
Yeah.
They control the content. Well, how is that any different than the Meta world or the Google world here in the United States? They are also controlling the content that you see.
Well, yeah, but the difference is like Meta, well, like I, I was like reading this article, and this has probably been like 3 or 4 years ago. Like Meta knows if you're a conservative.
Sure. Yeah.
Like with if you whether you post something or not,
Yeah.
they know.
They have all your data.
They have all of your data. So they already know, like, hey, that's what I'm trying to tell you. We will not know unless the algorithms are opened up, like, for everybody. Meaning,
Right.
like,
Correct.
because, okay, I'm gonna give a prime example of this. I barely follow anybody on Instagram. At one point in time, I had 65,000 followers. Now I'm down to like I don't even know how many followers I have. It's fucking like 50 or something like that. 50,000. I've lost a shit ton of followers, in the past 4 years because I just haven't given a shit and I just say what I think. And because of that, I've been punished for it. Now, here's the thing. Why isn't 50,000 people seeing my post when they open up their Instagram at some point? And I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm saying this for is because whenever I open up my Instagram, I follow a few hundred people. I might see 10 of their posts, and guess what? Everything else is suggested.
100% agree. Yes. I when I scroll through, it's almost all suggested. All suggested.
Yeah, and I really wish what Instagram would do is just go back, Zuckerturd, if you're listening, and you don't want to piss off people in America, go back to the old school ways before you bought the shit, and just put it as whatever the latest post is. Those will be the first that will be seen. But the people who posted 6 hours ago, their posts will still be seen if the person keeps scrolling. Quit doing suggested posts. Just quit doing them.
The suggested stuff is insane. Now,
suggested posts should be for your search page.
Yeah, agreed. What I don't mind every once in a while, even though we've kind of complained about this before, is obviously we all know if you search something on Google or search something on your phone or whatever, and then you go to Instagram, you're sure shit going to get an ad for something that has to do with that thing. That's just commonplace today. We used to get freaked out about it, but it's just the nature. They all have this ad data. I do occasionally like it because sometimes I'll go to Instagram directly after searching for something and go through my stories just to see if they send me something that I'm going to be interested in that has to do with that topic.
No, it's crazy. You don't even have to search it in Google. You can just talk
Say
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
Talk about it next to some people, and next thing you know, it's on your phone. I mean, it's a lot scarier than what you think because you are not free from the government. Because if you don't think that the government isn't tapped into these these databases, you are fucking highly mistaken.
We proved that they were. How do you think we got the information on the Trump shooter, and on some of these other latest activities that have happened? Is because they take that Google Ads data and they use it to pinpoint locations.
Well, even if you go back to what's his name, who's no longer in America, he's in Russia.
Snowden.
If you go back to Snowden was giving all this information out, and then the government was like, "Oh no, he's lying," and it's like, "No, he wasn't."
No, he wasn't.
Like you don't like you. Okay, it's kind of like when people talk about like the NFA. People are like, "Oh, I don't want to have anything to do with the NFA because I don't want to be on a government list." Guess what? You're already on a government list, my guy.
Yeah. I'm already on the list 135 times. Like it's, it is what it is. But yeah, so we'll see. we'll see what Meta really does. I hope they hold true.
Well, I mean, I think the only reason why he's doing this because he knows that he's the one. He had election interference, and if Trump really wants to go after him, he could fucking sink his whole company.
Yep. And I'm sure Trump said that. I will fucking destroy you unless you shape up. And I think that's a good compromise for Trump because Trump doesn't really gain anything by destroying him, but he does gain something by getting the freedoms back. So I think it's a great compromise. Hey Zuck, hey Zucker turd. I wish Trump called him Zucker turd. That would make me so happy. Hey Zucker turd, this is Trump. I got a deal for you.
It's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be huge for you and for me. No more censorship. No more.
Well, did you? I mean, did you even see like he even mentioned Trump?
Yeah.
After I went to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we know
know.
that you didn't do that on your own.
You got called in front of the man.
Because if you could keep fucking over Americans and keep destroying businesses that people have built on social media, you would gladly do it in order to keep the people that you want up at the top. You would gladly do that. And I'm still not convinced that you're still not going to do that, but just say that you've done it.
I agree. We'll see. Time will tell.
There's always manipulation when it comes to Meta. It's always been that way.
And it will continue in some respects.
Always.
We just need to see it get better.
Yeah.
Man, where was I going? Oh, one of our best friends has been in the news, and we talked about it a little bit a couple episodes ago. But I feel like we need to talk about it a little bit more because we have not trashed this man enough, I don't think. I have done a good job over the past 31 episodes of pretty much mentioning him in like 75% of them. But we're talking about the douchebag Tim Kennedy.
You know, you're probably going to meet Tim at freaking SHOT Show because he's there every time.
I'll go up and shake his hand.
I've only been to SHOT Show twice, and I've met him both times I was there. Well, didn't meet him, but literally towered over him as I was walking past because he's a midget.
Yeah, I mean, he probably could still kick my ass. He was an MMA fighter, but
he could, but I'd still be like,
so fucking douchebag Tim Kennedy. We had mentioned, I think it was like 2 episodes ago, the Anti-Hero podcast. A fellow we know, Brent Tucker. We got a chance to meet him at Goals this year, and he's good friends with some of our friends, and actually really good dude.
Yeah, super cool dude, man. Super chill.
Shout out FRCC, First Responders Coffee Company, and now First Responders Cigar Company. You know, those guys over at Anti-Hero are pretty cool, and they did an episode on their podcast about how Tim Kennedy is a fucking liar. And we talked about that a little bit, and basically the world fucking blew up around Tim Kennedy after that.
Well, it's not even just Brett Tucker. It's Brent Tucker. It's tons of Green Berets.
Right. That's what I was going to say is that it blew up and everybody was doing podcasts on it.
Yeah, I mean, like even like Navy SEAL dudes came out of the freaking woodwork to be like, "No, you're full of shit," because the stories that he was saying, if you've ever served, are clearly bullshit.
Clearly bullshit. You know, we talked last time about how he said he was carrying around a bag of like 50 grenades and
chucking them in without even looking into the building.
Like shooting his sniper rifle. Like,
I'm hip firing my sniper rifle, and because I don't know where my fucking M4 is. Like, get out of here, dude.
Said he was covered in blood and guts and yada yada yada. Right. So we kind of talked about that before. He got called out a million times. He posted a response that was like a non-response, basically trying to like deflate the whole thing. but still, I saw at least a podcaster a week still posting episodes about this. Well, yesterday,
Even our boys from Tacticon,
yes. Oh, Tacticon. Those guys are fucking funny as shit. Shout
they
out to you
are.
guys too. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I apologize. I will get back to you guys. But the guys at Tacticon, super cool.
Actually bought
And
a weapon light from you guys. You can thank John for that.
oh yeah, that's right.
And
And body armor.
and body armor. Yeah. So
Thanks, Don Love.
at a very good price too.
At a very good price.
Yeah.
Those guys are cool as shit, and they love making fun of people just as much as I do, I think, or even maybe more. And yeah, they blasted him too. Well, yesterday, our good friends over at Anti-Hero Podcast posted part 2. And on this episode, they had Tim Kennedy's forgive me, I'm an Air Force guy, not an Army guy, so I don't know what they call things, but it was like the troop commander and a communications sergeant or lieutenant, and then I believe the other guy was like a canine guy that was in Tim Kennedy's vehicle during this convoy. That's kind of the main topic of all this bullshit, right? And all of them. I mean, we're talking about like the troop commander, like the head guy that was in charge of what Tim Kennedy was doing. They all disputed basically like 90% of it. There was a couple things where like, well, it may have happened because I wasn't standing right there, but like, no, I mean, they even joked that the commander dude was like, I would be scared to even pick up a backpack full of grenades. He's like, nobody does that. Nobody would just pick up a backpack full of fucking grenades. They said that he was not covered in blood and guts. Like that's something that would definitely stand out. If one of your guys was covered in fucking blood, like you would know. He talked about going up into the guard towers when he was doing his sniper, and he killed like 20 people with his sniper rifle from the guard towers. They basically said that the Afghans were the ones that mainly were up in those guard towers, and if one of their people had gone up in the guard tower and shot 20 people, they all were like, we would absolutely know about that. It would be the talk of town. Like
No
that
shit.
didn't happen.
You know what's crazy? So I haven't watched this episode yet, but I did see on Instagram, I believe it was Saturday. The guy, because you remember how he was talking about like, oh, I went to Arctic and I passed Arctic twice or whatever, and blah 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 blah. Well, the guy who went with him the first time was like, no, that's absolutely not true at all. You absolutely failed. We watched you fail, and you didn't just like show up the first day and fell. No, like you went all the way through. And when it got to I can't remember what it was now, something to do with I don't know.
I forget the part two.
I can't remember what it was.
Oh, shooting. It was shooting.
Oh, it was no. That was different. That was sniper school.
Oh, that was sniper school.
I think it's called Arctic School. Apologies. I'm not a fucking Green Beret. I don't know, but I think it's called Arctic. It's where essentially like where they would like put you like in a box and like confine you and play music.
Oh,
and, interrogation of some type of sort or whatever the case is. Anyways, he ended up fucking failing that part. And the guy was like, I went to school with you, or I went to this school with you. I know you failed. And he's like, the thing is, he's like, your book is called like, whatever, Failure to Success, or what, I don't know what the hell his book is. I don't give a shit enough about Tim Kennedy.
Scars and Stripes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I think in the opening monologue of his book, he talks about like, like just because you fell, like doesn't mean you can't succeed or some shit. Yeah. And the guy was saying is like, you could have said that in this book. Like this would have been a great leeway. Like, hey, I failed and I came back and I fucking passed this and I graduated from this, whatever. And like, look at me, success. Like I never stopped, and I don't like everybody's coming. Like I've never heard of this guy before in my entire life, but like apparently, I mean, I was like looking at the people that followed him and it was a bunch of fucking,
badasses.
badasses like Navy SEALs and fucking Green Berets. So I was like, well, the guy's probably fucking telling the truth. You know what I mean? So
What's funny is I was saying the book title there. He actually even stole the book title from another like military guy that wrote a memoir, Scars and
really,
Stripes. Yeah. There was also the guy's name's Valhalla, I think, or his YouTube channel's Valhalla, and he like broke down everywhere that it said that Tim Kennedy had earned the Bronze Star with a Valor and something, I forget what one of the other awards was. It was on his like speaking engagement website. It was on his own website. It was like a bunch of different places. And then so he comes back out, Valhalla does, after this Anti-Hero Part 2 is dropped, and finds a video where Tim Kennedy was being inducted to the Pro Sports Hall of Fame, I think it was. And the guy that's announcing it gets up and talks about like he earned this Bronze Star with Valor and blah 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 and all the stuff that Tim Kennedy came out after the second Anti-Hero podcast and said, hey, I don't have these. I've never said I had these. You guys are all full of shit, blah blah blah. In the award ceremony, in like perfect opportunity for Tim Kennedy to say, hey, just a clarification, like I don't have what he just said. So like you can get a Bronze Star if you're part of like a unit, and I don't know, these guys that go over there basically say like if you were involved in combat over there, like you were getting a Bronze Star, right?
yeah.
And you get the V for Valor badge if you actually did something valorous.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically that's like the kicker. Like if you have the V for Valor, like you did some shit, right? He didn't correct the guy. He just let it go.
Didn't he say that he got like he had Valor for like every single deployment that he ever had? Because I'm pretty sure he even said that on his like
it was a Facebook post or something.
Yeah, but even after that, remember when he came out after the first episode of them going after him, and he was like, well. He's like, and I won Valor for blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and that's the truth. And he's
and you guys are using a DD-214 from 2011. Like, instead of saying, no, I didn't have those, or no, you're wrong, like, this stuff's wrong. Like, that first time, he could have come out and said, like, hey, no, I'm sorry if there's been some miscommunication, but like, no, I have a Bronze Star. I don't have a V for Valor. But instead, he tries to say this DD-214 thing, blah, blah, blah. No, come to find out. He posts, he gives a statement after Anti-Hero Part 2 and says, no, I don't have these things. Like,
clearly he's a liar, people.
Clearly. And I just want to say, I was fucking bashing on Tim Kennedy long before any of this shit started. Go back to, I believe it was episode 1 where I started my moniker of fuck you, Tim Kennedy.
Dude, it had to been like episode 1 or 2 or something super early. I mean, even when we were at goals, I remember you just going off on Tim Kennedy. Everybody's like sitting there like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Oh, that was at when we were filming with John Manelli.
John Manelli, yeah.
That's right. And I seem maybe a little bit crazy about how bad I went off on Tim Kennedy. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? Tim Kennedy is definitely a douchebag.
Yeah, and
he's a douchebag.
The thing about it is the thing that's crazy. I think the thing that's pissing most of these guys off are like, dude, it's like you've done a shit ton of stuff. Like nobody's saying nobody's saying that you aren't a badass, but like don't lie about it because it looks bad because you're creating this false sense of like this is what a war soldier looks like and what a war soldier should be doing, and a lot of shit that you're saying that you did really would get you tossed in the fucking brig. Like
he's still in the military, so he's a reservist. So I would be surprised if this doesn't lead somewhere. And from some of the insider talk, is that the higher levels in the soft community are looking at this
Bro, I
because
mean,
it's stolen valor.
definitely stolen valor. But like some of the stuff that he talked about, it's like those are like war crimes, people.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what they said on the Anti-Hero
Like
Part 2 was like, this is a war crime.
Like the 50 grenades getting tossed in a building where there's like people in that building, like you don't even know who's in the building and you're just tossing grenades in it. Like you don't know who's in that building. Like are these like, is it like me and John in the fucking building with guns aimed at pointed at you, or is it like Becky and Susie Ann over here in the fucking
Right.
building? Like
Yep.
you're which the thing is he probably didn't commit a war crime, but he's lying about it, and the
Right.
stuff that he's lying saying that he did is a war crime.
Right. So that would be the best thing ever, right? So he gets brought up on charges of war crimes because of the shit that he said he did. And then he has to come out and basically say he made it all up, or otherwise he's going to get convicted of war crimes. That would be fantastic. That would be the icing on the cake for me.
And the truth is he probably didn't commit any war crimes.
No,
he's just
his
just
people are saying he didn't.
Yeah,
like
it's just all bullshit. He's just making the shit up.
He made so much shit up. So he was talking about how the convoy that they they have the Django trucks or whatever they call them, and that the people, the Afghanis that were like driving these things, that they like got scared and they were basically going to run away, and that they had to point guns in their head at their heads and to like get them to like continue on. And their true commander was like, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. That did not happen. He was like, first of all, we wouldn't do that. And he was, second of all, that just didn't happen. Like, it just didn't happen.
Yeah, dude.
So Tim Kennedy, fuck you again, man. Fuck you again, Tim Kennedy.
The thing is like he's better off just not saying anything at all and just like shutting the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, because what happens is when he gets on here and he's like, oh, all these people are just hating on me because of my success. Dude, now you have to own up to those things that you've said. Like, you have to.
You have to now.
You have to. And the thing is you're lying. Here you are caught in another lie. Then you backtrack and you said that you didn't say this, but you did.
You did. So now you've got multiple lies building on top of each other. Yeah, like, it's nuts. And like, God bless.
And the thing is like, you know more about this shit than I do. I'm just catching bits and pieces of it. So I don't want our, the Liberty Goons to think like I've invested a shit ton of time like looking at this. This is me just like at fucking work and like listening to some shit in the background, but the thing is, it's like clearly Tim Kennedy is a fucking liar.
He's a fucking liar and he's a douchebag.
I mean, which I said this too, like, the same stuff, like even him on one, I don't even like, it's not that
his Second Amendment shit.
It's the reason why I really don't like him is because of Second Amendment shit. And I really like John Lovell. Like, really,
I do too. I do too.
And the fact that John Lovell had him on there and allowed him to spew all that bullshit, and John Lovell's supposed to be such a high, Second Amendment guy, really irked me when John Lovell did that. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, John Lovell. Like, you're you're the man. Like, I'm not.
Agreed.
This is nothing. It's just the fact that you said you had him on there. He's talking about his Second Amendment stuff. You were supposed to go hard on him. That's what everybody thought you were going to do. And you just let him spew bullshit. And in fact, he contradicted himself 25 fucking times, at least on your show. And you didn't stop him to say, hey, you just contradicted yourself. And everybody on your whole entire show, because your shit fucking blew up in the comments, was like, You can't say that you're pro Second Amendment and then say, oh, but and you don't believe in the ATF, and you don't believe in the NFA, and you don't believe in these gun laws, but then say that there's some good gun laws on the books and there's some good gun control. It's like John Lovell, like that's not being pro 2A, and you know it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And it's not just John Lovell, because I do like him.
And I'm just putting that one out because that's the one that comes closest to memory. There's been several shows even
Well,
way before that where he was saying like, "Oh, I don't think that these kids should be able to have an AR-15 and yada yada yada." So
yeah, I mean he's atrocious on the Second Amendment. And this will be a slight transition while we're still talking about this. I'm a little disappointed in Shawn Ryan, because Shawn Ryan has had him telling his story on his podcast and hasn't come out to comment on it. And then also just mentioned Tim Kennedy's name and the next thing that we're going to talk about, with the Vegas bombing. So Shawn, like, I'm hoping I'm going to see Shawn on not this coming Monday, but the following Monday at the Gundies. Because I want to say, Shawn, like, you need to say something, dude, because you and not because necessarily you had him on your show, but because, Shawn, you've got one of the biggest voices out there, and to associate yourself with him at this point makes me question you, Shawn.
well, okay, I hated the fact that he had him on there on his show and allowed him to continue to keep fucking lying. We know that he's lying, and Shawn is supposed to be your big hardcore libertarian conservative guy that wants to put everything on blast and is supposed to be pro Second Amendment and has all these things. It's like, get yourself ready. And like, we got Sarah Adams on here talking about how crazy the world is and all this shit. And then you allow somebody like that to just spew bullshit on your show.
Yeah, especially when you and Shawn was a badass operator.
Yeah. And once again, like, Shawn, if you watch this and this fucking goes viral, I hope it does. We're not like, I don't have anything against you. Like,
No, I'm not anti-Shawn. I love Shawn.
Dude, we watch your show all the fucking time. But you have to realize, like, that is a fucking douchebag fucking move. And I understand he's your soft guy brother, but the guy's a fucking loser. And you've allowed him to spew bullshit on your show, which doesn't give you any credibility.
No, and to use him as a reference,
a reference for the topic that we're talking about now, because they were shooting back and forth text messages. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, because Shawn, if you watch the text message thread, it said something like, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry that I blew up on you before something or another." That's what Shawn was saying in the text thread. But you look up and there's nothing there. So I'm thinking something got deleted. Like, I want to know what he said. Maybe Shawn is the guy that's like, okay, I'm going to let you spew your bullshit, but like really fuck you at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that if Shawn's smart, he's not going to let Tim Kennedy get involved in any of his stuff, because Tim Kennedy is a fucking agent, bro. He is an agent. Like,
yeah.
Tim Kennedy is a fucking plant at the end of the day. He will.
Yeah, like, people are calling Shawn a plant. No, Tim Kennedy's the plant.
Tim Kennedy is a plant, and I just think if he's smart, like nobody trusts Tim Kennedy, and the only people that like Tim Kennedy are the people that don't know enough about Tim Kennedy and have never served in the military and don't understand the lies that he said. They don't understand the shit that he said about the Second Amendment. And it's and whatever. It's not their fault. They haven't lived long enough. They don't understand enough in this world that people like me and you live in, right? But at the same time, it's like, bro, like, we know that he's a fucking plant. And he's probably working with the FBI. He's probably working with the CIA. We know that he's got ties in with all types of weird politicians, left and right, that are all fucking rhino and war hunger, like, fucking people. And the dude's a fucking psyop on top of that. So
Yeah, and that's why I think it was just bad business for Shawn to even mention that he talked to Tim Kennedy about the Vegas bombing.
But Tim, if you watch, or Tim, if you watch, Shawn, if you're watching this, I would like to know
What did you say?
What did you say? Because I don't think anybody caught that. And I went through the message, I went through all the comments. I never saw anybody mention it. I'm like, he just said, like, yo, sorry for blowing up on you, blah, 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 blah. What did you go off on him about?
Right. Because, like, what would you have to go off on Tim Kennedy about other than him being a fucking liar?
Yeah. So what's the deal?
Yep.
And it's weird that you have this guy on your show that all of a sudden has all this information on this guy in Vegas, and then randomly Tim Kennedy texts you and says, "Oh, you should talk to this person in the military." And then you talk to this person and that person feeds you a bunch of bullshit. You even said that on your
You
show.
call it out that it's bullshit. Yeah.
You call it out that it's bullshit. So once again, why is it that you are having this person be implemented into anything that's the Shawn Ryan brand? And what was the conversation like? Because I want to know, people like me and John want to know, and I'm sure tons of other people didn't catch it, but we caught it. And now that we have, and now that it's going to be on the internet, Shawn, tell us, what were you pissed off at Tim Kennedy about? What did you go off on him about? That's what I really want to know. Obviously, we want to know all about the fucking Vegas shit. We agree with you. We think that there's all types of tied in fucking shit. There's probably war crimes that were fucking committed. Or 100% there's something fucking crazy going on with the drones and all types of shit coming out of the sea. We know that it's probably China. That there's probably people in the government that are connected to this in the United States and in China. They're probably working together. They don't care about America. There's definitely weird shit going on. We agree with you. We love it, the fact that you're putting this information out, because it probably would have never got any type of coverage if it wasn't on the Great Shawn Ryan Show.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to know. We want to know what the fuck you said to Tim Kennedy.
Yes, we do. I'll ask him if I see him. If I see him on Gundy's night, I'll ask him. Maybe he'll tell me in private, and maybe I will only be able to tell you privately. But I'll ask Shawn. I'm gonna sound like we're buddies. I don't know Shawn, but if I see him at the Gundy's, I am going to ask him that question. So anyway, fuck you, Tim Kennedy. Great transition.
Once again, I just want to say we love the Shawn Ryan Show. We talk about it all the time. We watch the shit.
Yeah, I'm about to actually defend the Shawn Ryan Show right now. I'm about to go into a defense of the Shawn Ryan Show.
You're talking about Macbeth?
Yes. No. So, well, yeah. I mean, the whole Ryan Macbeth thing, but we haven't even talked about Shawn talking about the Vegas thing, because it happened after we had filmed the episode. We filmed the last episode on the night of the New Orleans incident and the Vegas incident, and we had very little information, and we even said, I believe in that episode, like, this is the speculation at this point, yada yada yada. We didn't even know the guy's name at that time, like, none of that stuff. Well, the next day, I remember I texted you, Don, and I said, holy shit, you need to watch fucking Shawn Ryan.
Yeah.
Because it just got fucking wild. So, for those of you that have been living under a fucking rock for the past week, the day after these terrorist attacks, if we want to call them that, I'm just going to say that because we're group it together. Shawn has a guy on his show whose name is Sam Shoemate. Sam Shoemate's a former intelligence officer, I believe. Ex-military guy. So a few days prior to this Vegas bombing, Sam Shoemate gets an email from the Vegas bomber, Livelsberger, right? Livelsberger, I think is his name.
Yeah, like on the 31st, I believe.
Yeah,
like literally the day before.
Yeah, from Matt Livelsberger. And he's kind of like, I don't fucking know. And I think they exchanged some signal messages back and forth about this stuff. And then Sam kind of, blows it all off. And then obviously January 1st happens and this guy's names gets mentioned and he goes, holy shit. Um, Gets in contact with Shawn Ryan. Shawn brings him in. They display this message that talks about Matt Livelsberger talks about drones and gravitic propulsion and war crimes in Afghanistan, and he's being followed by Homeland and the FBI, and he has a VBID, and just a lot of crazy talk. He's going to Mexico, and it was a lot of craziness, right? And I think everybody that was watching the show at the time, like literally my jaw dropped when I was like listening to this, right? Because you're like, holy shit, this was already like really suspicious about how everything happened and how everything went down.
Well, yeah, it was weird because fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
They said he shot himself. He clearly did not shoot himself as he's rolling up. I mean, the guy might have been shot, but it wasn't like the video that we watched clearly.
So I'm gonna get into some of that for sure because
I
want to do it.
I'll let you go on it. I'll let you.
Yeah, but I want to do what you and I normally do. We each give our opinions because normally when we do this, we both say separate things with some like stuff combined in there. Okay. Yeah. So they release all this stuff. Come to find out, while they're filming the episode, Shawn's producer looks, and they had also been contacted by this guy. Side note, Anti-Hero had also been contacted by this guy. And I'm going to defend a couple things. And it's been defended already, but Ryan McBeth came out and basically fucking blasted these guys, yada, yada, yada. You can watch that shit if you want to. Ryan McBeth is also a fucking douchebag. But, they were talking about the squiggly lines in the email. It was clearly an email that was opened up and they went into the forward function or reply function so that they could highlight and take out some of the names. That's why the little squiggly lines were under there.
Clearly, because he said in the show, hey, we have to redact some of these names. You can't, if you're going to redact something, you're going to put it to where you can edit it. Edit it would either be reply or forward.
Right.
And I
knew it as soon as I saw it.
I even said this on Macbeth's shit. I was like, that's stupid. Like, have you never fucking sent an email or copied and pasted an email? Like, what are you talking about? Or change something? Like, I don't know.
Macbeth was wrong about so many things, saying that basically Sam Shoemake got kicked out of the military and forced to retire, and so all kinds of crazy shit. Macbeth is a fucking loser.
Well, he's a shill for the world power. I mean, that's what he is.
He is, and while calling other people that, which is just fucking hilarious. And also, fuck you, Sebastian Gorka.
Yeah, that
for saying the same shit. Like, fuck you too, crazier. Dude. Yeah, I mean, I think Trump should fucking Sebastian Gorka. That was not kill, that was get rid of. Just for the YouTube censors. So the squiggly line.
Now they're coming after you, bro.
Right, I know. So the squiggly line thing, that's debunked. It was very clear what they were doing. Also, the two of them both during the episode made it very clear that they had not validated everything that had been said in that email. They clearly said that. They clearly said that they had no proof of all of this stuff. And even Sam Shoemake asked Livelsberger how he can validate some of this stuff, because he's like, I can't just take you for your word on this stuff. Some of the stuff's pretty fucking wild. Like, so they were very clear in all of that. Well, after this episode airs, I think, most of us were just like fucking jaw dropped on it. But then the people like Ryan McBeth came out and other people that were trying to debunk all this shit and basically calling fucking Shawn Ryan a shill and saying he was passing misinformation and, all kinds of nonsense, which I just don't think happened in that episode. The
Well,
worst thing that happened
they already proved that because they gave the information, and the police and the
to the
FBI came out
FBI.
and the FBI came out and said, no, this was a valid email
Yep.
from the guy. So
Yeah, it was actually his email. The only thing that happened in that episode of the Shawn Ryan show that was bullshit was him mentioning Tim Kennedy.
yeah,
That was the only part of it that I fucking had a problem with. And it's not that Shawn lied about that or anything. It was just that Tim Kennedy was even brought up in the situation at all because Tim Kennedy happened to know this guy from a reality TV show because Tim Kennedy's a douchebag and would be on a reality fucking television show. That's how we knew this fucking guy, right? And that was like years ago. He doesn't actually know the guy. He did like this thing with him.
yeah, they were doing like some type of shooting sniper, fucking whatever it was that they were doing on like the
Yeah.
History Channel.
Yeah. So like that's the only thing I had a problem with. But Ryan Macbeth, you can suck a dick because like and for anybody to actually listen to Ryan Macbeth, and I saw a lot of positive comments on that fucking thing, and like it, these people are nuts. They're freaking nuts. You want to talk about conspiracy theorists? Like, read through his comment section a little bit, dude. I saw your comments. Like, it was bullshit. Now, how should we do this like we normally do this? Yeah, we will. You tell me.
I have a whole lot of shit to say about it because
Yeah,
there's questions that I need
you
to have answered.
you tell me. What say you, Don Welch, about this Vegas situation? And then I'll provide my commentary after.
Okay, so let me preface this. Okay, you know, how do you say the guy's last name? Shoemade.
Shoemate.
Shoemate. So with Shoemate, there's some questionable things. I can understand why people would say, "Hey, this guy might be part of the CIA, or he might be fucking, some type of shill, and he's trying to gain some type of public perception to
Clout.
well, not even just that. Could be clout, but also like maybe he's trying to change the minds of people and get them to like have some type of like, hey, maybe this is what it really is. Maybe that's what the government's pushing. Maybe that guy is doing that. I don't know. I can see where people can come with that idea. And the reason why is because later on, then he came and said, oh, well, I talked to people that I can't confirm. But they said that he changed his meds 3 days before and the guy got crazy and yada, yada, yada. So maybe the guy was just had PTSD and blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. The fact is, the email did come from him and it was the day before. So if you thought that, now I agree. I think that the guy is a little weird. Shoemade, I think he flip flops on some weird things. Doesn't change the fact that it was already proven that email was sent. Also, the guy's name was attached to it, literally, and he even proved that later on. He even proved that later on because the email chain came from him and it was dated prior. So unless that guy is just like, oh, let me just wrap this up in my brain because this guy right here is going to go blow up his Tesla in Vegas and his name's going to be attached to it and it's got the right dates on it the day before. Like that, guys. Like that's what I'm saying. Macbeth and all these people and fucking Gorka, you guys are dumbasses. Like it's not rocket science. Clearly, this guy sent this email. Now, whether Shoemade is like putting his own little twist and whatnot, that's neither here nor there. I'm sure he is. Does the guy probably want clout? Probably, sure. But at the end of the day, that email actually happened. I do think what the liver, what, how do you say it?
Livelsburger.
Livelsburger probably had a lot of truthful things in there and probably had a lot of fucking shit on the government. Clearly, the guy, he knew all about drones and, the military's already like confirmed that. I mean, clearly the guy was a soft guy. He's been around the block. The guy knows shit. He's a wartime dude. So I'm pretty sure that there's all types of shit that was actually happening. And so I just wanted to preface it with that first.
Okay. Do I think that guy was crazy? Probably crazy, but at the same time, I think that he told a lot of truthful shit in that email, and he was too scared to tell any more in that email, and that's why he was trying to get on camera, and he wanted his visible face to be on camera to be able to relay those things. Now, the thing that I think is weird is that he said that he was going to go to Mexico, right? But he never made it to Mexico. I don't think that he was going to kill himself. And I don't think that he was going to blow that car up in Vegas. I think that he's probably telling the truth, and the FBI and Homeland Security, because they're really fucked up human beings, probably had some shit that he didn't want to fucking tell. And they probably fucking shot him. They self drove his car. They changed his fucking, what do you call it, number?
Signal.
They changed his signal number, and boom, blew up the fucking car. Okay, good. We can wipe our fucking hands clean from it. But they probably didn't realize that, oh, this guy had sent out all types of emails trying to get a hold of all types of people so he could get this information out there. I think that the government probably killed him. There was no gun flash in the car of him shooting himself. Also, who the fuck has a 308 pistol that's like a fucking 10-inch pistol in the first place? And also a 44 a 50 AE fucking Desert Eagle. Like, what kind of soft guy is buying those guns? Like, that makes zero sense to me. Like, zero. Like, you would have an AR-15. If you have a 308, you would have a full-size AR-10. You're not going to have a pistol conversion with a pistol brace on it. Like, also, the 50 AE is, like, not a reliable handgun. It's just not. So, like, that doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, everybody knows that that's not a reliable pistol. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's cool, but it's kind of like the thing that you, like, put on the coffee table and be like, yeah, 50 AE, you know. It's kind of like a showman's piece. It's not an operator's fucking piece. So there's weird shit with that doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that he has a whole lot of shit on the fucking government. He clearly wanted to get that information related to Trump. He even said, Pete Hegseth, which, hello, who's going to be in charge of the Pentagon? Your boy Pete Hegseth. Why would he want to get that information out? He knows that Pete Hegseth is supposed to go in there and clean up the fucking Pentagon. Like, clearly the guy had information, and clearly he was being watched, and the government wanted this shit to go away very fast. Very, very fast. So that's my opinion on it. I have more opinions on it than just that, but for show's sake and time.
All right. Well, it took us 31 episodes. John and Don completely disagree on what happened. So, and I mean completely disagree. I was in the, I don't know, maybe this guy fucking is right camp right off the bat. As soon as I watched the Shawn Ryan show, I was like, holy shit, this is gonna blow up, and the cat's out of the bag and shit's about to hit the fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more and more I got into it, baseline of what I believe is the guy went off his rocker, like completely off his rocker, and blew himself up. And you know, kind of getting into some of the reasoning. Number one, this guy did not know the information that he says that he had. First of all, nobody talked about gravitic propulsion, especially not this guy. He did not have the level of knowledge on drones to know about gravitic propulsion at all. He did not have that knowledge.
Why do you think that, if I can ask?
Because he was not involved with anything like that. He was not involved in that type of level of projects with gravitic with drones. He had a very baseline understanding. He was a I believe he was a master sergeant, an enlisted master sergeant, Green Beret. They do not have access to that type of information. Many people have come out since this has happened that have kind of been in that community and said that there's just no way he had that type of exposure. That's not the people that knew where he worked, what he worked on. He did not have that kind of information. The second part, and I'm just addressing the email right now, he talked about 125 buildings. Anybody that was involved in those operations has come out and said that is not true. That those types of in order to get this is 2019. So he said this happened in 2019. For the most part, the U.S. mission in Afghanistan was primarily a defensive state by this time. And in order to bomb even one building, it needed regional command. I think it was like I think they said 3-star or 2-star general approval just to bomb one building.
Mm-hmm.
In no shape or form from these sources did they ever bomb 125 buildings that could have possibly had civilians in them. It didn't happen. Anybody that has commented on that part of it has said that absolutely 100% would not have happened. Even some of the people that are questioning what really did happen with him in Vegas and all that have said that is just that's not factual at all. Now let's get to Vegas itself. Tesla has come out and said that the vehicle did not drive itself there. They have said that. They have that data. It was driven by him. There is video of him pouring rocket fuel, white fuel, into the back of the Cybertruck from a convenience store down the road. You can see the fuel dripping out of it as he pulls away.
Yeah, I seen that.
He searched on ChatGPT what would cause these fumes to explode. Would a 50 AE round from a Desert Eagle do that? Would a 308 round do that? He basically used ChatGPT to try to figure out everything that he was doing with this stuff. They found 3 shell casings in the vehicle. 2 of them exploded because of temperature. 1 of them had a primer strike on it. The theory, and I think it's a pretty solid theory, I remember just like you when I first saw the video of it exploding and they did the still frame, I was like, what the fuck? He obviously didn't shoot himself, right? When they showed it again, the first flash, I believe, came from the 50 AE, the Desert Eagle going off, which immediately caused those fumes to ignite. It all happened at one time. And the reason you can't see what we know would happen with a 50 AE is because the flames engulfed just as fast as any of that would have happened. It all happened at the same time, which is what would happen. And, then exploded. I think this guy went off the deep end. I don't think there's anything outwardly suspicious about it in the sense of I don't think the FBI was hunting him down. I don't think Homeland was hunting him down. I don't think any of those things at all. And I think this guy was just completely off of his rocker. Are they possibly hiding the fact of how he got that way? Did he see more fucked up shit? Was he not mentally helped out? Some other shit, possibly. But I think this ended up just being a case of a battle-hardened individual that got really fucked up in the head, and it's really sad. And I feel for it. And there's 22 veterans a day that commit suicide, and I think we have to take that into account, that this was just one of those 22 on a very, very, very grandiose and very weird scale.
And what you're saying could obviously be true. I mean, the one thing that catches me more than anything, you know, yes, even if he shot the gun, and they said he shot himself in the head, right? That's what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
His head didn't move. Like his head, even engulfed in flames, his head was still straight up.
But it happened all
And,
at the same time.
okay, and then here I have one other thing too that I think's weird. And you have to say it's weird, like what you're saying. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true. It very
It
well
all
could
looks
be.
weird. It all looks weird. I have no doubt saying it all looks weird.
But I also find it very ironic that all of a sudden passports and everything else gets engulfed in flames, and we don't even know who this guy is, and he's got no recognition on him. But yet somehow a passport and an ID manages to
So
exist. Same thing with 9/11. It's like, bro, like
this kind of got debunked a little bit too, though, Don. You know, many fire experts that I listened to this week said that shit happens. First of all, they found him in the back seat, and the ID was inside of a wallet. They have the wallet. The outside of it's all charred up. There's some paper stuff that's charred up inside of it a little bit.
I seen the stuff on it.
The cat cards themselves are pretty strong cards. I have one somewhere laying around here. They're pretty strong cards. And many fire experts basically said like that shit happens. That some shit burns, some shit doesn't burn, depending on how the flames went, how fast that water came down, or whatever it was. That to me is not a. I'm not saying it's not weird. It does look weird. I'll admit that it looks weird.
I think it's weird.
I just don't think it's a smoking gun.
I think it's very weird that it happens consistently with all of these. What the government wants to call so-called terrorist attacks, you know, because that's what they were calling this. They were saying, "Oh, it's a terrorist attack." Blah blah blah. I find it very weird that all of a sudden, like all this shit, it always happens. It's like, oh, we found a passport randomly, and we found an ID randomly, and it's like, how the fuck does this shit keep appearing?
The 9/11 ones are way weirder. I'll admit that.
Well,
the 9/11 ones are way weirder than this. This makes sense. I mean, he was going to go to Mexico, so he would have had a passport on him.
Okay, true. I just don't. It's like the chances of that surviving are pretty slim. And if they did, not saying that they couldn't, but they're pretty slim. They were saying in the car that dude's body was like unrecognizable, and if it was, and it's coming from the back, like you said, right? Because he filled the back up with gasoline. So that back seat where they said his stuff was, right? That theoretically should be the first thing that fucking catches blaze, you know? So I'm not, and the thing is I want to just everybody to realize this. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
John doesn't know what happens. We're just basing this off of like hearsay, things that we hear, you know, analyzing things from our own perspective. John very well could be right, and I'm not saying that he's not. There's just too many weird things in it for me to think that there wasn't something more to the story than, oh, this random guy just had PTSD and he decided to blow himself up. Also, clearly, I don't think the guy had bad intentions with other people, because, and even if he did want to blow himself up, right? Like the guy purposely got this truck that, you know, is supposed to be bulletproof. It's not going to fucking go up in flames and fucking blow out the whole entire building. But the guy's a Green Beret. I'm pretty sure that the guy knows how to build a fucking bomb.
I will even say something a little bit about that. He wrote in his notes that his VBID would be able to take out I think it was 100 square meters. And I think he really thought that what he had there was going to do damage. And honestly, it would have done a lot more damage if it hadn't been in a Cybertruck. And I think that was just a fuck up, because he even also mentions in his notes, because he he said, I wish I hadn't gotten the Cybertruck because I wasn't thinking about like having to stop and charge it, all these times along the way. I think the dude just wanted to rent a Cybertruck on his way fucking out, man. He was like, if I'm gonna go.
So my questions to you are, if he was in his PTSD mind, what do you think he would have said to Shawn Ryan if he were to happen to get on the Shawn Ryan show?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that
because
people
Shawn
like
Ryan
this
would try to fact check something. That I mean,
he wouldn't have gotten on
that,
any of those shows. He wouldn't have gotten in touch with any of them.
But I'm just saying, let's just say theoretically.
Well, I think you can tell from his kind of chain of thought over the course of those 3-4 days where he's writing those notes, he's sending those emails. His frame of mind is not linear. It's very chaotic, because in the emails to Sam, he's basically saying like, they don't want to come after me because I have this V-bid. And then in his notes, he's saying, I'm going to blow up this V-bid and it's going to do a lot of damage. And the whole thing is just not linear. And people that have PTSD or have these psychotic issues and episodes, they don't think on a linear level. Sometimes he could have talked to Pete Hegseth and he would have been saying X, and then he could have talked to Shawn Ryan and he would have been saying Y. You can't look at his thought process with a rational eye, because his thought processes weren't rational. And
I mean, that's to say, if your ideas on this are correct,
if my idea is correct,
I agree with you 100%. 100%. And I'm just playing devil's advocate on this, because, like I said, 100%, John might have every single thing that he just said could be 100% the truth, right? Like, it could have actually happened that way. Like, there's no doubt about it, clearly. That's what makes this story so fucking interesting, I think.
It is interesting.
And I think that's why so many people are like, really the bigger story is fucking New Orleans, right?
Yes. And it's getting downplayed because of all of the Vegas stuff.
And truly, the New Orleans shit is something that me and you should have a whole entire discussion about. That
Agreed.
I mean, we tried to have a discussion about it last time, and we did talk. And
we just didn't have all the information at the time either.
But that's the bigger story, right? That's
Yes.
the more impactful thing to all of us. This story isn't that. It's impactful because it's so mysterious. Like, right. Impactful.
But they're not related. But they're not related.
No,
Can you agree to that they're not related?
And I think when we first thought, when everything
I thought we said it.
I think we probably thought it did, because it was just too many coincidences all happening together. Something's not up. They were saying his wife or ex or whatever, some crazy liberal fucking communist person. Well, I was seeing all types of crazy shit online. I'm like, well, that makes sense. ISIS shit makes sense. You got some dudes that have just fucking lost their fucking mind, and they've been radicalized, right?
Yeah,
it happens. It happens all the time.
But those were not connected.
But these were definitely not connected. Now, to go back to saying why we're talking about this, I think is because it's so mysterious. And I don't think that we'll ever actually truly know the full story, because the only person that knows that true story is, unfortunately, no longer here. Right.
Correct.
And I think
I could be 100% right. You could be 100% right. But we won't know. We won't know. And honestly, Don, I thought the same thing you did for the first couple days. I really did. We talked about it.
Yeah.
I watched the Shawn Ryan show and I said, holy fuck. I listened to multiple hours of X Spaces with people like Sarah Adams and Shawn Ryan and Kyle Seraphin and Sam Shoemate and all these other intelligence, officers and people. Not to say that some of those guys aren't plants, and I don't want to mistake our listeners from thinking that I think that these people are all just 100% truthful about everything. Even though I believe Sarah Adams is.
Yeah, out of everybody,
Yeah,
dude,
but
she's
after
like predicts
I can
everything and fucking shit happens.
right, I changed my mind after I took in what I thought was enough information to believe that this guy did not know the stuff that he said he knew, that some of the stuff that he said was actually just not even possible. And the thing that really threw it off for me is when I really started to dig into gravitic propulsion and how much of a fantasy, at least at today's day and age, that really is. And that
But
it, it-
I want to stop you there because, and I just want to clarify because I haven't even Googled the term on it, but from my understanding, that's zero gravity, right?
correct.
Okay.
Correct. It's the use of gravity to propel objects without a propellant.
So
And
I think I and I think that we've been able to do that for fucking forever, but I have a totally different outlook on it because I mean I think that the Egyptians were able to do it because we still can't build the fucking pyramids, or supposedly we can't build these pyramids. So I think that zero gravity has existed. We know for a fact from what everybody said, from all the whistleblowers that I've talked about zero gravity, you have some type of mercury source, and all throughout and copper and all this shit that was dug all around fucking Egypt, where all this shit is, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, whenever the fucking pyramids were built. So
yeah, I mean, obviously there's some interesting shit there. I don't believe that the drones that he was discussing were Chinese drones driven by gravitic propulsion coming out of the sea in this scenario. As skeptical of a person as I am, and you and I talked about the drones ad nauseum too.
I mean, I
I
think
think
those
that's some
drones are
weird shit.
definitely from fucking China. And there's no way that the United States government is allowing all of these fucking drones coming from or no, I guess it would be
The Atlantic.
the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, Atlantic Ocean. There's no way that all of these drones are coming from the fucking Atlantic Ocean, because that's where people are seeing them come out of. There's all types of video footage of these drones fucking flying out, fucking storms of drones. And the United States government just doesn't know. And oh yeah, it's just people out here playing with drones. It's like there's no way that that's the truth.
Another public service announcement on this episode. Will everybody out there please stop taking pictures and videos of airplanes flying in the sky and saying they're seeing drones? Please, for the love of fucking God, you make yourself look stupid.
No, but the thing
I saw some videos that are interesting for sure,
dude. I don't know if you've seen the one that got shot out of the fucking sky, and did you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
Where
it was in Florida.
Yeah, but the other one that was dropped out of, I don't think it was in Florida. I thought this one was I think it was in fucking Pennsylvania.
I'm pretty sure the one that the guy shot above his house was in Florida.
No. It's where the other like UFO, let's just say,
UAP.
UAP came down and then dropped the other drone, and it crashed and it like went straight down to the earth and crashed. And they actually like picked up pieces and chunks of that. You haven't seen that video?
I don't think I've seen that video.
I'll have to
needless
to
to say, I'm not saying that there's nothing nefarious with the drones. That's not my point to it at all. It's that this guy, sure as shit, doesn't know anything about gravitic propulsion and doesn't know that any of these drones that have happened out in New Jersey and all these other places have anything to do with it either. He was just not in a position to know that information.
But do you think the Nazis knew about it? Do you think that the United States government knew about it? I'm talking about zero gravity. And I know I'm kind of going off wind, but I want.
I don't know. I think I'm kind of 50-50 on it because I do believe I do have some belief in us having recovered alien aircraft and some other things and have done research on the pyramids. So part of me does have some belief there. The other part of me says if we've had this knowledge and this technology, the United States is not one to not present its technology to the world, especially in a military format. We have been operating off the same type of combat aircraft for a very long time. And if you look at the brand new technology and like the F-22 and the F-35, it's still based off of a petroleum-based platform. And if we would have had the ability to show force in an astronomical way, I believe it would have been too good for the military industrial complex to not put it out there. So I'm 50-50 on it. There is 50% of me that believes that we do have some technology because of some of the stuff we've recovered and things. The other half of me goes, I don't know how much of it we're able to use because we probably would have used it already. 50-50.
I mean,
50-50.
I and I'm a person that doesn't believe in aliens, by the way. So like, for all you weirdo UFO people out there that believe in aliens, I don't believe in aliens. But so everybody's gonna fucking hate me on this because they're gonna be like, well, how do you believe in zero gravity and yada yada yada?
They have a point.
I have a whole different perspective and view from biblical things and that I can point out to, but then we're gonna get lost in the sauce on this.
Because last time we went down that road, we got deep.
Clearly lost. I mean, I could bring up Nephilim and everything else in this whole entire story, but
I'm 50-50. That's my favorite line from War Dogs.
yeah,
When they're in the truck and they're like, well, is this dangerous? Could we die? And he goes, 50-50. He goes, I don't think he understands what 50-50 means. Oh man.
Yeah.
Maybe these drones were coming from the Gulf of America.
Oh yeah, dude. That's a good little yeah, man. Fucking
That was a good transition,
dude.
right?
That was a great transition. I'm glad you got us out of this conversation.
I know, right? We went
could
really
talk
far
about
down
forever.
there.
Yeah.
But Don and I disagreed, and that's really a first that we've completely disagreed. So I'm proud of us that we are not agreeable today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't agree with you.
And this is not pre-planned, guys. We don't plan our episodes that in depth. We pick topics that we want to discuss, and even we stop each other if we're talking about them ahead of time so that we don't talk about shit that we're about to talk about. I actually didn't know what you really thought. I had an idea of what you actually thought happened, but
so here's the real thing, guys. So all you guys know, John's a shill for the government. I'm going to tell you the truth. Don't listen to him.
You know, it's so funny that you say that. Before we transition into the Gulf of America,
I'm gonna have our fucking listeners are gonna be crazy on that shit.
I know, right? So I am actually in the process. I've never told you this. I'm in the process of writing a novel. I got inspired because of these books I've been reading, right? That I talk endlessly about, these kind of end of the world scenario books. And I'm writing a book about a character. His name is John. And he has a normal job. And that he is actually a government shill. And secretly operates as kind of a government figure as the world is coming to a collapse. So more to come.
This was not planned.
This was not planned. This was not planned. I'm actually in the process. This process could be very long. So don't come at me in like a year and say like, John, where's your book? I don't know. I'm a fucking idiot. I don't even know how to write sentences very well. So This could take me a very long time, and I just highly suggest when it does come out, you don't run it through Chat GPT because some of it might be from there. Because I don't know how to write, so I'm gonna have to use that to edit. Anyway, just funny that you called me a shill, and I'm writing a book about myself being a shill. I am not a shill though.
That's exactly what a shill would say.
Or am I? Some of you would call me that. But golf of America, huh? So Trump has done some Trumpadocious shit lately.
I fucking love it, man.
He basically insinuates that we are going to annex Canada to be the 51st state, and by default kind of puts an end to Justin Trudeau. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff that happened with Justin Trudeau, but I believe Trump was the nail in his coffin. He treated him like a little bitch and said, we are basically going to annex your country. And next thing you know, Justin Trudeau has to resign. We're not even going to go fully into the Trudeau thing because I just don't want to give it any fucking playtime. Canada, you fucked up. You got to deal with it now. I'm only going to reference it in the fact that we're going to annex Canada as the 51st state, and Trump was the catalyst behind it.
Bro straight up said, if you can't afford $100 billion, I'll let you be the government of the 51st state. But no, I mean the crazier part about this is, so obviously he stepped down. Canada is very rich in resources. Canada is extremely fucking. I want to rephrase this. Canada is not extremely liberal. For all these people saying that, they have a parliamentary government where there's several different parties within the government, and because there's several different parties of the government, whoever's hot at that time, other people will latch on to those other parts, and they will basically parry together to get shit done, and then hopes to get themselves, higher up on the leaderboard as a government official, essentially. In layman's terms, it's way more complicated than that. But so they have several different parties in their government. So if somebody has, I can't remember what it is, I think it's like 27%, they could fucking win and become the prime minister.
Something crazy.
It's wild. Like if there's four parties, if one person wins 27, then they win it all. It's fucking crazy. Now think about this, guys. You guys in America have bitched and complained about a two-party system. I'm not saying I don't disagree with you, but that's fucking crazy. Where a small little sector gets to dictate every single thing that you fucking do now, right? Yep. At least in a two-party system, you can say, hey, me and John and 30% of your party can be like, fuck you, no, you're going to do this if you want our vote, and they're going to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, then they're getting fucking removed because we actually have elections where they can be fucking prime minister for fucking 9 years. Or, and continue to be fucking prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
Where we have a president of the United States, and guess what? You get a 4-year term, and that's fucking it. And maybe you get another 4-year term if you've done a really good fucking job, and we, as society, agree with it. And that's it after that. So, but I wanted to just say, look, Canada, you did this shit to yourself, but I did think that it was funny because Elizabeth May, who is a fucking person from this Green Party who's a fucking absolute nutcase, has essentially came out and said, hey, John, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, I thought you froze for a second. It was the government shill was freezing. My apologies. He was freezing like Joe Biden. No, I think it's just a little bit of a lack there in the computer. But she came out, and she's part of the Green Party, came out and said, well, hey, Trump, I got a deal for you. We'll take California, Oregon, and Washington, like thinking that's going to piss off Americans. We're all like, hell yeah, and we'll take Alberta all the way to fucking Ontario, dude. We'll take it all. And we'll take all your resources, and you guys can have Toronto, Quebec, and all that shit. And we'll let you all have all that, and we'll take everything else. And then guess what? None of you guys can run on gas anymore. You guys can all fucking have makeup.
Greasy Gavin can be your PM.
Yeah, and you guys can do fake lithium mines because you guys don't want to dig for any natural resources. And you guys don't want to have gas and oil, and you guys don't want to cut down trees, so you guys can all freeze to death.
You can have Justin Bieber back.
Water, I don't know.
Take Bieber back.
We are happy with that. We are 100% okay with that. So, Elizabeth May, you thought you were big dicking, but joke's on you. We don't give a fuck about those states. In fact, we would be happily obliged to trade them
for the rest of your country.
For a place, yeah, exactly. The rest of your country. We'll let you keep the little fucking crazy liberal parts of your country, but we will make Alberta part of Montana.
I agree.
We don't even got to make it a new state.
So Trump says Canada is going to be the 51st state. Trudeau resigns. Trump also says to Denmark, keep fucking tariffing. We're taking Greenland from you, bitches.
Honestly,
sends a delegation led by Don Jr. to Greenland. And basically says it's in our national security interest to have it, so we're going to take it.
And we should. And honestly, if Canada, I'm sorry to tell you this, if we really want to, you guys have destroyed your military anyways. We could take over all of Canada.
We'd take it.
And in 24 hours, we could just take the country from you. And in fact, not even make you a 51st state. Give you no voting power at all.
Just make you a territory like Puerto Rico.
Just make you a territory, and we just dictate everything that happens, and we just take your fucking natural resources, and we tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
So we could really be dicks.
Yeah. Don't get all big and bad, Canada. You guys speak French in some parts. Like, you're fucking losers. But I would welcome you to be Americans. But you have to stop speaking French. So
American territory.
Yeah. He said he wants to take Greenland. And just yesterday, Trump says we're renaming the Gulf of Mexico, and it's now going to be the Gulf of America. Fantastic. Great idea.
I love it. I love it.
And I believe, and I mean, you geography nuts, don't kill me on this. I do believe there is more American coastline in the Gulf of Mexico than there is Mexican. I believe. Because you got to realize Texas, Louisiana,
Alabama,
Mississippi, or Alabama, Florida, like it's a ton of coastline for the United States. So I am completely supportive, and I think that all schools by the next school year should have all of their maps replaced to say the Gulf of America.
Yeah, so suck on that, liberal.
Suck on that shit, bitches. And the last thing we're going to bring up today is probably the best thing that we got to see this week. So on January 6th, interesting date. On January 6th, Congress met to validate the election results and the new president of the United States. So when the Senate went to confirm who has to do the certification, well, we learned from last election cycle, because of everything that happened, that it was Mike Pence, right? Well, Kamala Harris had to certify that Donald John Trump, with an H. Fuck Trump now. He has an H in his name now that I think about it. Donald John Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. And it was a glorious sight.
Bro.
Glorious sight.
And what first and foremost, I don't like fucking Mike Johnson. Like, fuck Mike Johnson. I really
Agreed.
wish whatever it is what it is at this point. But he's a fucking douchebag, and I'm just waiting for him to fuck up. I think he's going to fuck up, and I think it's
Agreed.
going to come back to bite us in the ass. But his face and her face side by side was the most fucking funniest thing you will ever watch. If you want to have a laugh, go watch it. And every single time, it's like, we're going to go Alabama, Arizona. It's like every single state. And she has to say, and Kamala D. Harris. And it's like, no votes, or no electoral votes. Donald J. Trump, 19 votes.
It
And
was
has
fantastic.
has to go through on all of this and listen to them state every single state for the electoral college was fucking hilarious, dude.
And in any other week, 2 other pictures would have just been the talk of the town. And I'll get to those in a second. But this one with Mike Johnson standing beside Kamala Harris was just so fantastic. It really made my week. What would have made my week even without that was the picture of Nancy Pelosi with a walker on the floor of Congress and Mitch McConnell in a wheelchair getting rolled in.
Bro.
Like,
Bruh. Yo, if at Kentucky, hear me out. If you don't get rid of this fucker once and for all and put in a new fucking senator, shame on you, Kentucky. Look, whoever you are in Kentucky that wants to run against this fuckhead, which I know everybody in Kentucky fucking hates him, but you're going to vote Republican because you're not going to vote Democrat. Find somebody else. I don't give a fuck if it's Freddie Dubega at the fucking corner store that's a conservative. Fucking vote that man in. Get that fucker the fuck out of here. He has done so much damage to this country. Get him the fuck out of there.
Agreed. So yeah, we'll leave you with that one. Kamala Harris, you got to go watch those videos if you haven't yet, folks. Our viewership will absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Man, we are going to try to film another episode before I leave for Mexico. I'm going to Mexico on Tuesday for Luke Bryan's Crash My Playa Festival. I'm super excited about it. I am rooming with 4 girls, which should be extremely interesting. I don't think I've ever done that in my life, and slightly terrified about it. Sorry, ladies. I love you all. But so it'll be about 5 days of debauchery there. And then I take a flight from Cancun into Las Vegas, going to the 221B range day on Sunday evening. And then meeting with some vendors at the show on Monday and Tuesday. Some connections for both Liberty Goons and for 2A Patriot Ranch, and then going to the Gundies on Monday night. I might even try to sneak into the EOTech party before I fly out on Tuesday night. We'll see. But yeah, it should be a good fun time. Stay tuned. Maybe we'll go live from the Liberty Goons Instagram, and so that way Don can join in and we can have him virtually there with us, guys.
I'm gonna be sad face and be like, I'm not there
because I can't go live from 2A Patriot Ranch because I'm in jail, which really sucks now that I think about that. Anyway, yeah, so big week coming up, but we're gonna try to film another episode so that way we've got one that we can post while I'm away. So we're gonna give that a shot. Just want to say shout out to myself and to Born Primitive. They have adorned me in. I got to tell you guys, I actually don't get paid from Born Primitive at all. Once again, they do send me stuff, so I guess if you call that payment, whatever. If you are looking for a flannel, this has got to be the most comfortable flannel I've ever worn. It is stretchy. It is heavyweight. It is phenomenal. Go buy one of these things. And they have sick ass hats too. So shout out Born Primitive. Bruno, I will see you at SHOT Show. Don will not. I'm bringing an extra suitcase for all the goodies that you told me I'm going to get, Don. Actually,
I try to tell everybody, dude, don't fucking come with a bunch of luggage because you will be leaving with so much shit. You're gonna have to get a new fucking bag, dude. I walked away with I legitimately probably walked away with 6 hats, probably 15 shirts, ungodly amounts of fucking patches. My buddies were winning pistols there. They won fucking glasses. I mean belts. I mean, like it's crazy there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You walk away with so much stuff.
Yeah, it's I'm excited for that. And then I'm also meeting some vendors there that have stuff to give me while I'm there that I'm going to be reviewing and stuff. So hopefully I don't get arrested at the airport like Don did.
Yeah, don't fly into freaking Newark. That's a no-no.
I'm actually flying out of Philly, which is just as bad. So but anyway, guys, stay tuned for SHOT Show and Gundy's coverage because I absolutely will be there. Hopefully I get to talk to Shawn Ryan so that I can ask him your question, Don.
Yeah.
Also, stay tuned to a Patriot Ranch on January 21st when I drop the Olight products. It's pretty exciting. Don, you're going to love it, actually. Pretty exciting. Also, Don, you better watch my Paragon optic video because and pick one up. I think they're $150. My link gets you 10% off, I think. Something like that. Really good price on that. But yeah, and Don, I am hoping that you do not have the baby while I'm away. I'm hoping it holds off. So that Uncle John can like plan something. But yeah, man, congrats on your new studio.
Appreciate it, man.
Looks good. You look like a normal podcaster now.
I look like a normal podcaster.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we really appreciate it. Don, what should they do right now?
Man, this is your time to make sure that you go and drop a like, a comment, hit subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications so you can watch shows just like this every single fucking week with me and John's wonderful faces, giving you all types of bullshit and propaganda that we hear and spew back out to you all. Just
and my
kidding.
shill noise.
No, honestly, dude, me and John, we soak up so much information, you know, and we really try to make this podcast something that's just really relax, but things that are very interesting and things that are going on in the world. And obviously, we have a lot of gun information. We're going to have more gun information because we're gun guys. So, as well as just, you know, your political your political information in the world that's out there. But me and John really care about what's happening in the United States, and you know that's why we kind of put this whole entire thing together, the Liberty Goons, because we believe in liberty and the Constitution, and we want to make sure that it stands strong. We can give that off to the next generation.
Amen, motherfucker. That guy right there, that's Don. I'm John. Together, we are the Liberty Goons, and we are out.